This week I am talking about the headlines for the church, or the Visions Church, the vision of the church in Wigan. And actually, it doesn't only apply to Wigan, it applies right the way across the country, and I would suggest to all churches in all places. But the headlines, I suppose, for this week are that 1. It's important to affirm the history and identities of our churches, which means that we walk in the footsteps of those who have come before us, and that we keep and honour those things which make churches a special place. That all churches are enabled to keep things that over the years have made them exactly what they are now, today, and will carry them on into the future. The second thing is to have diversity in unity. I suppose this could be likened to the Trinity, 3 things that are different but that are essentially the same, and also exactly the same as the Anglican Communion, which makes the Church of England so distinctive. The Communion is meant to be something which holds people of different viewpoints together, which allows for different points of view and disagreement, and yet still enables people to work together in unity towards common goals. And we come, of course, to Holy Communion. Each of us is different. Each of us has different needs. But at the altar, we all become one as we come together in Christ. And the third thing is to show love and care. To me, this is what the priesthood and church, and that means laity as well. This is all about what a church community is. A strong community working together can help to provide what is needed in the community. As I said, lay and ordained, working together to show and bring love to all who seek or need it. Rummer Godden's book, The Black Narcissus, is a book that I've come to really love and deserves rereading. The famous film of the book was on television this afternoon. It's about a group of nuns who are sent high up into the Himalayas to set up a convent. They have everything they need, and there is the local land agent, Mr. Dean, who is there to help them with any of the practical things which may surface. Everything at first appears to be all right. However, it's not long before cracks begin to show. Mr. Dean, on his first meeting with Sister Clodagh, who is in charge of the new mission station, tells her that he will give them until the rains come before they pack up and leave. Things begin to unravel, slowly at first, but soon it becomes apparent that Mr. Dean was right, and the new convent is finished as the rains come to the land, and the nuns leave the mountains to return to the mother house. The nuns' mission has failed in part because they have failed to take into account the very things that we have been asked to look at today in the visioning of Wigan. One of the nuns, fairly early on in their mission, says, "We're losing the spirit of what we are." In other words, we've forgotten our heritage, the very reasons that of what we were sent here to do. The nuns have not taken into account the traditions, feelings, and needs of the local people that they have come to minister amongst, and because of that they have no empathy with the people. By imposing what they think that people need, they end up losing them. They realise too late that they should not, cannot impose things onto the people that they have come to serve. And because they do this, they end up realising when it is too late that they have lost all sense of unity. The nuns have shown love and care to the local people, but it is not the care that the people want, or more importantly, they need. Once again, they have not understood the people that they have come to serve. There is a really significant bit in the story. When realising that things are not going well, Sister Clodagh turns to help from Mr. Dean and asks him what they should do to progress things or to put things right. Mr. Dean, a very sceptical, worldly man, replies, "What would Christ do?" This is a question that the nuns never really considered, perhaps because it was taken for granted that this was built into all they did. This is a question not only for nuns, it's a question for the whole church, and also for us as individuals. It is a question which I think should underpin everything we and the church does. It's really hard sometimes as we go about our daily lives in all its busyness and pressures from family, friends, the community and the world around us to forget this question as we respond to our own needs and react very often in ways that suit those needs or the situations we find ourselves caught up in. Consequently, we all too often make mistakes. How often in my personal life, in my professional life as well, have I phoned or spoken to a friend, a colleague, or perhaps asked myself, was I right? What would you do? What should I do? What do you think I should do? Do you think I was right? Do you think that I could have done this better? Was I right? As a Christian, when your back is to the wall, when you're confused, when you're not sure where to turn, then Mr. Dean's reply becomes the one to consider. 4 simple words. What would Christ do? The vision for Wigan is a good vision. Nobody can or would argue with that. But at its very heart, a vision has to have principles and ideals to be measured against. The measure of this vision, or for that matter any other vision, should have at its heart, what would Christ do? The principle given to us by Jesus Christ himself is, of course, love God and love your neighbour as much as you love yourself. In my opinion, the church in Wigan Deanery, in the Liverpool diocese, in England and far, far beyond, should hold at the heart of any decisions it makes the question, is this what Christ would do? And I have to say that this is not as simple as it may at first appear. Mr. Dean does not ask Sister Clodagh, what do you think Christ would do? What he actually says is, what would Christ do? This takes a lot more thought, consideration and reflection. Let's hope the vision works and that the church is allowed to flourish here in Wigan. Let's hope, no, let's make sure that the future is about a church that treats everyone as its neighbour and brings life to all people and all communities abundantly. Let's make sure that we never lose the spirit of who or what we are, and we won't, as long as we keep on asking ourselves, what would Christ do?